I mean, I think it's most people would say, like, given how the market has evolved this year, the price is on the high side.
Right. Right. But that's on base of what it is.
Yes, but in terms of what I think there is a tremendous amount of potential that it will be very difficult to achieve, but I think possible. And I think ultimately it could be one of the most valuable companies in the world.
So when we think about this, in order for that to happen, so I met you and it took me a few years, and then I believe in you and your heart, right? Your heart. And so,
I think you were skeptical. At our first meeting, you were a bit skeptical.
And so the way I think about it is that, so I'm trusting you with the future of our country, of the world, actually, when you're in charge of a media like that. And so what I think about is, so how do you prevent, so being Jewish, how do you prevent this anti-Semitism? Or if I were black, how do you prevent all of the... So how do you prevent the use of the N-word? And when I think about TikTok, and they're able, we're just looking at pictures, to tell what you're going to do. You know, you move your left arm, you move your right arm, what other pictures you like. So that's what they do with their software, and they've great their algorithm. How can we not have an amazing algorithm? Because we know more about them to do with TikTok, and we ought to know what interests people have. And because of that, in words, we should be able to figure out words that people are using, what that means, and considering what content they're interested in. We should be able to figure out with software how to moderate this and prevent that from happening. Is that true or not?
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. Totally agree. I want to be clear. Content moderation policies have not changed at Twitter, and it is not okay to engage in hateful conduct on Twitter. We have had actually oddly targeted attacks where temporarily people have been able to put some hate speech on Twitter, but then it's been taken down immediately. So now, part of what I'm trying to achieve with this sort of enabling everyone to be payment verified with Twitter Blue is to try to get as many people payment verified as possible. It's only $8 a month, although for some people that were complaining about that, and these are people who pay more than that for their latte.
I'm going to be one of your Twitter Blue customers.
Thank you. But it's part of its revenue, part of it is payment authentication. And so if somebody, because there is a huge problem with spam and bots and trolls on Twitter, and organizations trying to manipulate public opinion, and just generally making the system worse. And I think that there is an answer to that, which is to get as many regular users of Twitter to be a subscriber for $8 a month. And you'll get a lot more than just a blue check mark for $8 a month, because now we can afford long form video, long audio podcasts, and we can also start sharing revenue with content creators, which is essential.
Give them a chance to make money.
Yeah, absolutely. Just so, I mean, right now, if you're on Twitter, you'll see a lot of links posted to YouTube and TikTok, and that's because, at least until now, Twitter has not even given them enough video length to post their video, and then they give the content creators no means of monetizing the video. So we're going to change that rapidly at Twitter. It's going to be transformative. But if we can get enough verified users, and we're going to prioritize Twitter search, replies, mentions by verified users first, and yeah, this is very.
And that's what calls amplified.
Yes. So if you're payment verified with blue checkmark, then you're prioritized, and so this is the point of this is to make crime not to pay, because right now to create a bot on Twitter costs less than a penny. So the cost of crime is so cheap, and that's part of why crime and hateful conduct pays. But if somebody risks losing even $8. It's too expensive to now have 100,000 fake accounts because they have to spend $800,000 a month, as opposed to $800 a month. So, and then we also, since we're using payment authentication, we're piggybacking on the authentication system of the payment system, and we're also piggybacking off of Apple's authentication system, which is another layer of security. So the net effect will be over time that the verified users will pretty much always be at the top of comments and search, and you won't really see. You'll have to scroll far to see the unverified users, which will be the bots and trolls and whatnot. And this is sort of analogous to Google search. Like, if you go to page 8 of Google search, there will be a ton of scams and stuff, call it page 8, page 9, something like that. But the thing is that Google search results are so good for page 1 that you never go to page 8. Or it's rare. And like the old joke is like,
so if something we don't want to see, it gets pushed way down.
Yeah, basically the bad stuff gets pushed way down. And then crime stops paying, and then they stop trying to do all these things.
And we can recruit them as engineers to program for us, crime guys.
Yeah. So, I mean, the joke is like, what's the best place to hide a dead body would be the second page of Google search results. Nobody ever goes there. My workload went up from about, 70 to 80 hours a week to probably 120. So, yeah, I go to sleep, I wake up, I work, go to sleep, wake up, work, do that 7 days a week. I'll have to do that for a while. No choice. But I think once Twitter is set on the right path, I think it is a much easier thing to manage than SpaceX or Tesla. So, and I really understand the internet and how to make. So I wrote software. I wrote software personally for 20 years. I was one of the key people behind X.com, which became PayPal. And so I also I'm aware of I know how to make a way better PayPal.
Because you built PayPal.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean, with a lot of other people, but there's a product plan I wrote, which I wish I'd kept a copy of in July of 2000, where I thought it would be possible to make the most valuable financial institution in the world. And we're going to execute that plan from 22 years ago, which amazingly no one has done. And so I think that's part of why I think Twitter will be ultimately extremely valuable, because I'm going to execute the X.com game plan from 22 years ago with some improvements. And then we're also going to obviously make Twitter just a way better system. I mean, it stands to reason that if a social media company is not taking steps to make it positive to be on that social platform, then people won't come or they'll leave. So you speak of sort of anti-Semitism or racism or anything like that. Well, I mean, who's going to stay on a platform if that's prevalent? Like that's
obviously.
Yeah, I mean, come on. And apart from its inherent wrongness, who's going to stay on the platform? So you want to be. It needs to be something where, our goal with Twitter is how do we get 80% of America? Maybe not like the sort of far left and the far right, but and maybe we don't want them necessarily. But how do we get 80% of the public to join a digital town square and voice their opinion and exchange ideas, and maybe once in a while change their minds?
And on occasion.
Yeah, I mean, once in a while.
So I read also that you said, and then we'll move off of Twitter, but you said that your goal is you want to make the 20% of people who are on the far right hate you, just like you want to make the 20% of people on the far left hate you. So,
well, I don't want them to hate me, but I think the extremists, like, it's just very difficult to satisfy extremists. So unless you fully buy into whatever their dogma is. So, but I'm confident we can satisfy, like, I don't know, 80% of America, 80% of the world, but maybe not the 10% most extreme of either side. And I would count that as a great outcome. And I think it is important to have sort of a digital town square where people feel comfortable talking. And I also think it's like one of the things that's important is to be able to sort of decide what kind of experience you want to have on Twitter. Because some people might say, okay, like I want if this was a radio station, I want the easy listening, smooth jazz station. Okay, cool. But that's so you should be able to have that setting for Twitter, and then some people might say like, no, I want heavy metal thrash, and like, okay, so now this is going to be sort of then you don't mind someone saying mean things to you, within the context of the law. And you don't mind engaging in vigorous arguments on Twitter and that kind of thing. But you should be able to kind of like pick your preference and decide if you want sort of full contact battle or do you want like, no, I just want to look at poppies and flowers and nice landscapes and stuff.